people and all the fanatics of electrical skateboards, Paul here again, welcome back to my channel. And today we're getting closer to actually completing my new DIY build, and we're going to shoot another video and I'll share some information with you. So in this video we're going to install correctly the motors onto the 3D Services gear drives. So we're going to open up the gear drives, do everything the way it needs to be done, especially grease them up correctly, install the keyway, glue it in, blah. So if you want to learn how to do so, stick around and take a look. For people who just tuned in, I have already made a custom carbon fiber wrapped skinned deck. This is ready to go. At the same time, I did complete a custom design skinned battery enclosure. Both of them tutorials are on my channel, so if you want to learn how to do both of these things, carbon fiber skinning and like a custom design skinning, take a look, guys. What I'll do is I'll leave the videos on the links in the description below, so just it's a bit easier for you to find them. I have already made a video on how to assemble the base plates onto the hangers, and especially how to insert the bushings without having any special tools. So all good, but before we carry on with the motor installation, there's a couple of things that I would like to show is a bit of an advice I was given by 3D Services, and I think you should know about this. So advice number one, in my video I did advise to put some lubrication onto this bolt, the axle, and it's correct. However, when bolt travels through the bushing, it takes most of the oil off of it, so nothing gets to the bearing. The bearings are not actually pre-oiled up for actually functioning right. They just factory oil, to be fair. So what's advised to do is use multi-purpose grease and a little screwdriver, put a little bit on the tip and actually grease up the bearing, and that's a cylindrical bearing, inside. This way you still have the lubrication even after the bolt travels through the bushings. And we'll do the same on the other side. Now this is done 100% correctly. Another little tip, guys, before you actually put the base plate onto the hangers and start trying to get the bolt in and bits and pieces like that, what I would recommend you do is use a little bit of masking tape and just protect the hangers right in these areas right here. You don't have to like stick a lot of it on, purely because the base plate will travel up and down and will hit the hanger, so you don't want any marks. Obviously it's going to only move back and forth because the blocks are not in yet. And the last one, guys, it's obviously much easier when the base plate is already installed on your deck. This way you got some leverage, but there is another way of actually installing the suspension blocks, instead of putting them in first and then trying to get the bolt through, which I did in the first video and it works absolutely fine for me. Well, 3D Services told me that he actually has altered the distance between the center of the bearings to the center of the axle, so it's actually easier to manipulate the blocks when the bolt is already installed. So let's just do this. What I found this, guys, is the best way to get the bolt in is kind of start turning it and applying a bit of downforce pressure, and he will find its way. Let's make sure we're all nice and centered. It's not advisable to use some sort of impact because you could potentially damage the bearings. Okay, and we're in. And this is what I meant by the protecting the hangers, guys. You see? Okay. Make sure you do centralize this washer, guys, yeah, because sometimes it could sit off center a little bit. You think it's tight, but it's not. It just caught on that raised bit on the actual axle. It's a bit tight, I think. Okay, now next step is loosen up these screws right here. These are the adjusters for the suspension blocks. And now you can take the tape off on one side. The block goes in on one side. You can press on the base plate, compress the first block, and that gives you just enough space to install the next. Case this bolts. Ta-da! Nice. And this is one-handed tool. E-Talks, thank you. Red, thank you for printing it for me. Beautiful. Okay, so now to actual installation of the motors, guys. You will not need many tools, which is cool. So just some Allen keys to take the cover off, and Allen key also to put the bolt in to hold the motors in. You will need the lubricant. I went for the original lubricant from 3D Services because there is something special in here. He would not tell me. It just comes in a plain wine container, but he reckons this was designed for this kind of applications, and yeah, he's probably got it from NASA or something. But anyway, we're going to use this. All the bolts and keyways are provided with the kit. Brilliant. So what would be the best and safest way to get this assembled and for me to know that I gave you the information which is 100% correct? Well, I think let's give 3D Services the auditors himself a call, and what I'll do is I will assemble one part, one side with him, and then film in detail the second part. It's going to be all in Russian. I'm from Estonia, he's from Lithuania. We both speak another language, will be Russian, so you probably won't understand much anyway. So I'll go just blah, 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 really quickly, and then I'll do the English one just for you. Okay? The application of this lubricant interests me a lot, because too much is bad, too little is bad. So let's hear it from the designer, creator, maker, and yeah. Конечно, было бы удобнее, если бы он стоял в этом, ну, прикрепленный уже был, потому что тяжело, знаешь, руками держишь, так пытаешься давить, уже нету ухвата, знаешь. Вот, а так у меня все собрано. fully assembled, and this thing is absolutely brilliant, awesome, smooth. So let's do the next one with you guys, step by step. So the nut, the washer, and there is also a spacer. They do come off, don't lose them, put them on the side neatly somewhere. And now we're going to take off this case. The two at the top, guys, are the smaller screws. So what we do now, we now gently take the cover off, and now we're going to shake out the screws, because they're tiny, you will probably lose them. Okay, and I store them in like a little cup or something. This way, if you like by accident kick the desk, it doesn't fly around everywhere. Okay, so now we have exposed the motor gear right here, and well, there's not much to do in here at the moment. By the way, guys, you see this cover here? This is 3D printed like a bash guard. This does not come with the kit. However, 3D Services made the file available on his website, so you can print one off for yourself, or I think you might have them for sale, and they're not that expensive. Anyway, so now we're taking the motor. Okay, that's the next step, and the keyway is provided with the kit. You put it inside the shaft slot right there, and then what I do, I use pliers without the teeth, and I make sure that the keyway goes in fully. So I apply a bit of pressure all the way along it, making sure that it is sitting 100% in. Okay, now this is important part, guys. Not all the shafts and the keyway slots are built to exactly the same like standards or precision. So what can happen, which did on the first motor, is the keyway did not 100% fit through the opening on the gear. So let's try this. Okay, so it goes in, let me show you. It goes in, let's say, I don't know, a quarter, and then it gets stuck. You cannot push it no more. Well, you can probably force it in, but it's not advisable because you will have to take it out. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, there's two ways you can do it. You can do it by hand, so you can use like a small, like a file, and file down the keyway, so pretty much make it just slightly lower, and also don't forget to file the edges as well, you know, so it's nice rounded, well, around there. This way it will slide in nicely. What I'm gonna do is I'm too lazy. I'm going to use a grinder. Okay, so what we're doing, we're going to protect the motor, because you don't want any of the metal shavings inside the motor. Okay, and now I'm just going to grind the, get the camera closer, I'm just going to grind this keyway a bit. So it's a bit lower now, and now we just need to do the sides, because they have flared out from me grinding. Okay, so constantly try it, and I do it from outside because it's the same cutout throughout, so it's easier to pull out if anything. And okay, it's much better, but it's getting stuck right at the end, as you can see. You can probably force it in, but don't do it, guys. Take your time and try to file it even more, because you want this sliding in and out nicer, easier. Because just in case we have to take the motors out, and plus we're going to use some Loctite. I'll show you in a second. So just a bit more filing. Okay guys, so it took me about 3-4 goes to get this keyway to the shape it needs to be. So yeah, unfortunately that groove is not as precise as it should have been on the Maytag motors. Well, mostly motors. So what you do is just try to actually get the shaft into the gear, and then you can actually pull it out. Okay, we'll do that. So next step is you need to degrease this area all the way around. Use like a white spirit, anything that could clean and degrease the surface. Okay, I'm just using the brake and clutch cleaner. Got it for my bike, so it works fine. Okay, so this is nicely degreased now. Then we're taking the Loctite. This is Loctite 638. This is the retaining compound. And the way I'm going to do this, just a plastic bag. I'm going to put 3-4 drops on the plastic bag. Just like that. And using the brush, just a cheap like painting brush, we're going to apply this Loctite around the keyway, and then the compound will soak through and keep it stuck. And also we just do a little circle at the top, let's say 10 mil from the beginning of the axle of the motor. Don't go all the way down, then don't cover everything in glue, because when you push the motor into the gear drive, into the gear, it will pull the Loctite too close to the bearing. You don't want that. Okay, so now we will slide the motor into the groove. Make sure you're going in nice and straight. And that's it, we're in. So the cables will be looking upwards, just like so. Next step is we are going to fix this whole lot down. So you need 12mm screws that are provided with the kit. These are to fix the motor into the motor mount. Same procedure, we need to degrease them. And the reason for this degreasing is because when the bolts are cut in the factory, they got oil on them, and that oil will prevent the Loctite from sticking to them. Okay, and now the same way, just going to apply a bit of Loctite right at the tip of the bolt. Don't put too much, guys, because you might gonna have to take this apart one day. And now we're just going to catch the first screw. Roughly remember where the cables are looking. Move the base of the motor around. That's it. Caught the first screw. Don't over tighten it. And we'll do the rest. Okay guys, do not use like ratchets or anything with like massive levers to tighten up these motor screws. Yeah, they're not, they're good, they're high tensile, but you don't need such a massive force on them. So what I'm using is this kind of Allen key, or you can use the one like a standard L-shaped one, because when you actually tighten up, you can feel the Allen key flexing. That means you pretty much reached the tightness you need to be at, because last thing you want is snapping that head off the bolt and leaving a thread inside the motor. That's it. The motor is installed. That's perfect. So now we're going to put this assembly on the side, because we are pretty much done. Just make sure there's no particles, nothing is stuck in there from you grinding away and filing. Okay, beautiful. Okay, now we're going to work on the main gear. Okay, so next step, guys, let's take the V-ring or V-seal off. Very simple. The gear will drop out, and now we got this stainless steel washer surface type of thing here. This is for the V-seal to rub up against. So it used to be plastic, but now it's stainless steel because it's just perfect now. It doesn't leak, it doesn't warm up or grind down. So now I'm using the oil that I actually bought from 3D Services. Yeah, it's the best way to go, well, in my opinion at least. Now we're going to put a tiny little film on the surface that will be rubbing up against that stainless steel ring. Very, very tiny little film. Put that on the side. Okay. We need to put some oil right all the way around this surface right here, guys. I'm going to use a ice cream stick. You don't need to put a lot, but this is for the oil to be present for when the gear is spinning and constantly pushing up against this internal of the case and leaking out under the V seal. This way it will keep it's nice and sealed at all times, and that's what you want. And now the seal back on. Next step, we're going to fill these gears up with the lubricant. Only fill the gears themselves, yeah? Don't need to put anything at the front here. If it comes out, that's fine, but you don't need to. Okay guys, in this instance more is not always good, yeah? Filling this whole enclosure with grease is not the correct way of doing it, because the oil will have nowhere to go, will just keep on leaking out and spreading all over your board. Okay, so just filling the teeth. I'll show you in a second. So this is what you should have. So next step, and by the way, oil, I don't know what it is. It's 3D Services special, some sort of grease thing. Supposed to really make them gears quiet and work, well, yeah, give them the lifespan, or really long lifespan. Okay, so now we are ready to install the cover back on and the gear as well. Make sure there's nothing stuck on the bearing. It needs to be nice and clean. Bearing already pre-oiled. So sketch the teeth. That's it, we're in. Nice. Now remember them six screws. Let's start at the top here, where this plate is. Let's level them out and catch the holes. There we go. Don't over tighten everything, guys. Wait until you catch all the screws, and then you tighten them up. And the same principle, guys, just use normal Allen key, nothing like a ratchet type. These screws, by the way, you do not need to Loctite in. These screws are not meant for that, and if you do it right, they should not come out. Obviously you need to check them once in a while, after, you know, every 2-3 rides or so, but they're not to be glued in, guys. Okay, so gear drive is now assembled with the motors on. Beautiful. Now let's not forget to put the spacer back on. And now we got our wheel that I have already pre-assembled, and in my previous video I already showed what to do. We got the adapter that was now fixed to the rim. Okay, let's just put the bearing in. Keeps them falling out, so I took it out. So the spacer for the bearings and the bearing. Okay, now the wheel slides over. Perfecto. Now we got the washer, and you see this movement that you got here. Look, see it? This is compressing the V-seal. So as soon as you put the nut on, that's going to seal the that rubber really nicely. So catch the nut. Yeah. Now we've got screws already provided to fix the adapter to the actual gear drive that came with the kit. And we are not going to use any blue block, red block, or anything at all on these threads, guys. Purely because if you are riding around with your mates or by yourself and all of a sudden you got a puncture, you will never take this wheel off in the field. And again, same principle, normal Allen key, no ratchets, otherwise you'll strip the bolts. And you now tighten up. Okay, next step, guys, we're just going to tighten up the main retaining nut, the axle nut. At the point where it's tight, you'll feel it, bang, it just stops. That's it. You don't have to go any more tighter than that. And now, we just make sure that the bolts holding the wheel in are tight, because this nut will push everything together. And that's it, you're done. The only thing I've done different on this build is, instead of using the vinyl, carbon fiber look vinyl, I actually used the reflective tape. And at night it's actually going to reflect the light. And it's blue. Win-win. We're done. And unfortunately or fortunately, this is it for this video, guys. The gear drives are now assembled. Oh, these are the beauties. Look at that. I cannot wait to try this out. Nice one. So, as a plans for the next videos, I had a couple of queries and suggestions on my YouTube channel, also in Skate Freedom group. What's the difference between skin deck and carbon fiber skin deck and non? So now I'm in a position where I can fix the hangers onto the board, and front and back, and that's what I'm going to do for the next video. We're going to flex test the same deck before the skinning process, and now after the skinning process, because we're already going to have the wheels on. So that's going to give an idea what the carbon fiber skinning does to the flex itself. Obviously it's going to make the deck stronger, but also the flex wise, because there are some heavy guys out there like myself who want to ride the boards, but the decks are a little bit too flexible. But you can fix that, guys, you definitely can. Well, this is it. If you got any questions at all, if anything wasn't clear enough in my video, or you got any questions regarding anything that 3D Services actually makes or sells, and the way to install things, whatever not, let me know in the comments below, yeah? And I will get you the answer. I will find out the information, I will share it with you. But as for of now, I can't just stop touching it. It's just so nice seeing things coming together. It was all like in bits, wheels were laying around for ages. We was waiting for these motors for quite a while. By the way, these are the custom printed Maytag 6374s, 190 kVs. Yeah, this is lovely. Well, that's it. Ride safely, subscribe definitely, and any comments, let me know.